Hello to all my dear followers. I welcome you to the third chapter of What If Naruto Was Abandoned by His Parents and Left the Village to Become Stronger. I only ask for a like and a comment. Without further ado, enjoy the chapter.
In the Wave Village, we would see that in the distance, the sun would be rising, thus giving the sign of a new day. But it was not just any day, according to Kushina's deductions. Today would be the day in which Zabuza would attack the bridge. At Tsunade's house, we would see Tsunade along with Team 11 and 12 preparing for the day. Everyone already knew what awaited them today. It would undoubtedly be a long day. Kushina. Okay, everyone's ready. I'd say, looking at the others. Everyone would nod. But I would notice that someone was missing from the group. Kushina. Hey, where's Naruto? I'd say, confused. Makoto, he's still asleep. I'd say calmly. Suki. How could he have fallen asleep on such an important day like today? I'd say, something annoyed at the Uzumaki's irresponsibility. Makoto. Suki, shut up. Compared to all of us, he's put in more effort than everyone. Do you think summoning 300 clones 4 days in a row is that easy? If you weren't paying attention, Naruto was just hiding his tiredness so as not to worry anyone. Preferring to help Tsunade finish the bridge, he definitely deserves a break. She would say seriously towards her daughter. Suki would only blush a little in embarrassment. She hadn't noticed Naruto's tiredness. She would just stay silent. Kushina. Fine. Naruto will stay to rest. And if Gato sends some thugs after Tsunami-san and Inari-chan, Naruto will be there to stop them. She would say with a smile. Without anything else to say, the group would go towards the bridge, leaving Naruto, Tsunami, and Inari at the house. Once on the bridge, the group would begin their routine, waiting for the attack. They wouldn't wait long, as after a few minutes a thick fog would cover the entire bridge. They would quickly become alert and cover Tsunade, in that they would see two silhouettes approaching calmly. When they got close enough, they could see Zabuza accompanied by the Umbu who had allegedly killed her. Zabuza. Well, I see it was true that they called for reinforcements, he would say with a very sharp and dry voice, worthy of a demon. Kushina. Zabuza. This time we'll finish our fight, but compared to last time, I won't leave you alive. She would say with coldness in her words. Zabuza would just chuckle. Zabuza, you sure know how to tell good jokes. Well, if you want to, you'll have your battle, but I think we'll run into a few obstacles. I'd say, looking at the other girls. But it's nothing Haku can't handle. I'd say, sending a glance to her companion. After that exchange of words, Zabuza would launch himself towards Kushina, brandishing the Kubikirabocho against Kushina. She would quickly block the enormous sword with a kunai with wind element chakra. Makoto would join the fight, attacking Zabuza from afar. He with some trouble would dodge the fireballs that Makoto would throw at him. The girls would only protect Tsunade, waiting for the attack, in that they would see how the Umbu would be approaching calmly, in no hurry to arrive. Without a doubt for him, it was like a walk in the park. Suki quickly ran towards the Umbu, trying to land some blows, but it would be in vain since the Umbu would dodge them very easily. Suki thought, damn, this guy is too much for me. It was to be expected from an Umbu. At that, Suki would receive a kick to her stomach that would send her crashing into the corner of the bridge, courtesy of the Umbu. Naruto. Suki. This one would see how she would crash into the bridge. Ana. Cheyenne, Mito, you guys stay behind to protect Tsunade-san. Naruto and I will fight the Umbu. I'd say seriously. Mito and Cheyenne would only nod to Anna's words. After that, Naruto and Ana went in the direction of the Umbu. The Umbu would see the girls arrive and would just stand still. This would only make both Ana and Naruto start to sweat cold from the Umbu's imposing nature. The first to attack would be Ana using her taijutsu. The Umbu would follow her with more difficulty than with Suki. Without a doubt, the Hyuga's taijutsu was lethal. The Umbu knew it and would be careful. Naruto would also join the fight, being a little behind Ana and the Umbu since her taijutsu was not nearly as good as theirs. But if she had one thing, it was her monstrous strength. Since her mother had trained her and her brothers with Tsunade's technique, clearly she still had a long way to go to match her, but she was on the right track. After a few minutes, the Umbu would manage to take one of Anna's palms and would bend her wrist, causing enormous pain to Anna. The Umbu would take advantage of this moment of vulnerability of the Hyuga and would give her a strong blow to the face that would make her fall to the ground. Naruto, seeing her best friend being hurt by that Umbu, could not contain her anger and would begin to release enough Kyubi chakra to cover her entire body. This would make the Umbu a little surprised, but it would only make him become more serious. Naruto. Kyubi influence, you will pay for this. Damn you. A roar would sound that would shake the bridge. The power of the scream was such that Zabuza, Kushina and Makoto would stop their battle to see what was happening to the others. They would see how Naruto was covered by the Kyuubi's chakra. Zabuza, wow, I didn't know that brat was a Jinchuriki. I'd say that calmly. But Haku will stop her. Kushina, it can't be. If Naruto doesn't control her emotions, she'll cause great damage to the bridge and the people. She would say with concern. Makoto, Kushina, it's not time to distrust your daughter. Just have faith in Naruto. Besides, we have no other option than this, she would say seriously towards her friend. After that, the three would continue their fight. Only this time Kushina would be somewhat distracted, worried about what her daughter would cause. Back with Naruto and the Umbu, after that roar, Naruto would launch herself directly at the Umbu with very destructive but clumsy attacks that the Umbu would take advantage of to dodge them. Naruto, Kyuubi influence, don't move, you damn bastard, she would say angrily as she couldn't connect any blows on the Umbu. Umbu, you are so weak. You can't even harness that great power because you're blinded by rage, and you'll only die, he would say in a cold, emotionless voice. Naruto, Kyuubi's influence, what did you say, damn you? I would say, completely furious. In that, Suki would return to the battle after recovering from the blow. She would see how Naruto was being consumed by anger. She would see Anna, and there she knew the reason for this. She would approach Anna and try to help her. Suki, Anna, are you feeling fine? I'd say with concern. Anna, if it's just my doll that's been disabled, I'm grieving like hell. I'd say with some pain. Suki, we have to help Naruto. Even though in that state it's dangerous to approach her. Anna, let's let her fight alone. That way she'll hopefully tire out the Umbu and then we'll attack. Suki would nod at Anna's words. Naruto would continue attacking the Umbu, without thinking of anything else but finishing him off. But she wouldn't manage to connect any blows. This would make her even more furious. Umbu, it's time to end this. At that moment, the Umbu would begin performing hand seals at incredible speed. Secret jutsu, ice crystal mirrors. At that moment, ice mirrors would begin to form around Naruto, Suki, and Anna, covering the entire area, leaving no opening or exit. Suki, what is this? I would say, very surprised by the Umbu's jutsu. Anna, an ice jutsu. I would say with surprise, and at that moment I would remember that Naruto had also used an ice technique in his Genin test. Only he had said that he had not yet mastered this element. The Umbu is on another level. Naruto will not be able to fight him, and even less us, we have to get out of here quickly or else we will die. I would say with some fear in the end. Umbu, let's begin the show, he would say in a cold voice, causing needles made of ice to emerge from his hands and appear in all the mirrors. Suki, which is what she's trying to do. She'd say nervous about the Umbu's next move and instinctively activate her one-eye Sharingan. Umbu, die. At that moment the Umbu would throw his needles towards the girls. Naruto would not dodge them since the Kyuubi's chakra would heal her of all wounds. Suki would take out a kunai and try to deflect the needles and protect Anna as well. Her Sharingan would help her a lot, but a fast Sharingan is useless if her body moved slowly. Outside the dome of mirrors, Myth, what did the Umbu do? I would say seeing the large dome of mirrors. Tsunade, amazing. The brats inside will be fine. I'd say I'm a little worried about the girls. Cheyenne, we can't do anything but wait. That's all we can do. Protecting Tsunade-san is the priority. I'd say trying to stay calm. All we can do is wait. I'm sure Naruto-sama will arrive any moment and help the girls. Myth, thoughts please Naruto-kun. Come quickly. We went to Tsunade's house where Tsunade and Inari were, along with our blonde. The latter was waking up from his sleep. Without a doubt, he was very tired of summoning clones these last few days. Tsunade would be in the kitchen arranging some things. Next to her would be Inari passing her things. These last few days his attitude did nothing but improve, and he would start telling his mother about his ideas to improve the town. And even though his ideas were very childish, his mother was happy that he was thinking about helping the town's situation. While in the living room Naruto would be getting ready, Tsunade had already informed him of Kushina and Makoto's decision. He would wait for Gato to send his thugs to the house. After enlisting, he would head to Tsunade and Inari. Tsunade, oh Naruto-kun, I see you're already prepared. Naruto, yes, just wait. Inari, Naruto-san, when the bullies attack. I would say out of curiosity. Naruto, I don't know, but most likely I'll only send a few, it will be easy. Tsunade. Well, if that's the case, there's nothing to worry about. Naruto, whatever happens today, I promise you that after today this village will be freed from Gato's tyranny. He would say seriously and calmly. These words would make both Inari and Tsunade a little surprised. They had all their hopes in the Konoha ninjas. They were their last option, and if they were to fail, there would be no way out of the hole they were in. After an hour of waiting, the three would hear footsteps outside the house. Judging by the sound of the wood when it was stepped on, Naruto would realize that one of the men weighed approximately 100 kilos. It was the weight of a built man with a lot of muscle, while the other should weigh about 85 kilos. It was the normal weight of an adult man. The men would stand outside the house and knock on the door. Naruto would signal Tsunade and Inari to go hide, and they would quickly obey the boy, while he would head to the door ready for the confrontation. Naruto would open the door, and just as he thought, both were adult men of about 30 to 45 years old. One was very built, while the other was also muscular but not as exaggerated as the other, both with dark skin, black hair, brown eyes, and a sinister smile. Surely the idiots will have confused him with Inari thinking he was his grandson. Naruto, what can I offer you, gentlemen? He would say with a fake smile. Bully one. Hey kid, you can talk to your mom. We just came to talk to her, he said, keeping his sinister smile, his true intentions obvious. Naruto, I'm sorry, but my mother isn't here right now, he would say with a fake smile. Bully 2. Come on, stop playing around and take the kid and let's find the mother. I don't have that much patience. I'd say something annoying. Thug 1, fine, whatever. I'd say so that after that he'd try to grab Naruto by the collar. Naruto would quickly step aside and grab the bully's arm, then twist it. Thug 1. HHH. Son of a bitch, he would say, writhing in pain and throwing himself to the ground. Bully 2. What the fuck, you're no ordinary kid. I'd say serious. Naruto, heh, maybe, he would say with a mocking smile, and after that, he would take out his ninja bandana from his pants pocket and place it on his forehead. Thug 2. Leaf ninja. I'd say seriously. After that, the thug who remained would rush towards Naruto, unsheathing his katana with which he would try to cut Naruto. He would only dodge with some difficulty since they would be inside the house and the space was very closed. In one of his moves, the thug would be about to cut Naruto in his stomach. Bully 2. This is as far as you've gotten, brat, he would say with a mocking smile. At that moment Naruto would drop a scroll and from it a katana would appear, the same one that Hiruzen had given him on his birthday. He would quickly take it and block the bully's cut. Thug 2, what? I would say with surprise. Naruto, so, have you never seen a brat wielding a katana? He would say with a smile. Thug 2. I'll cut you into little pieces, you son of a bitch. I'd say I'm already annoyed. After that the two would face each other in a katana duel. Naruto would block all the cuts that the bully sent him. In the process everything inside the room would be torn to pieces. Naruto would notice this and with great speed he would approach the shawl to connect a strong kick charged with chakra in the stomach sending him out of the house. But in the process he would take the entrance of the house. Naruto, I don't know if that was good or bad. I'd say with a blank face seeing how he wrecked the house even more. The bully would get up with difficulty. The paw had suffocated him since it had taken out all the air in his lungs. Thug 2. Bad. Damn. I'd say with pain. Naruto, let's get this over with. I have something better to do than be here with you, he would say coldly. Bully 2. No, don't make fun of me. Don't make fun of me. The bully would lose his temper and start attacking left and right, not caring if his slashes connected or not. Naruto would simply dodge and, already annoyed, would make a vertical slash that would cut the bully's abdomen. The bully would just kneel down in pain and start begging for mercy. Bully 2. Mercy, mercy. Please don't kill me, he would say in terror as he saw the boy approach him calmly and with a cold stare. Naruto, tell me how many of the people you've killed told you those. I would say coldly. The thug would only be scared, knowing that this was his end. After that thought he would see how Naruto raised his katana and with a perfect cut he would decapitate him. Naruto, wait for me in hell, because that's where all the murderers go, he would say coldly. After that Naruto would go to the other thug who was still writhing in pain. Without saying another word Naruto would just pierce his heart, killing him quickly. After sealing the bodies of both thugs, he would go look for Tsunade and Inari. He would find them hiding in the boys' room. Tsunade, Naruto-kun, Naruto, The area is now clear. I'm sorry about how the house turned out, he said with a small smile. Tsunade. No problem, you protected us, and that's more than enough, he would say with a smile. Inari, Naruto-san, you're amazing, I'd say with a huge smile. Naruto would just nod at her words. Naruto. I don't think Gato will send any more thugs, so I'll go with the others to help them. I'll leave several clones to protect them anyway, I'd say calmly. Tsunade. Sure, go and help the others. After that, Naruto would summon clones that would disperse throughout the house. After that, he would head to the bridge, hoping not to be late. Naruto thoughts, if I want to get there as quickly as possible, I'll have to take off my weights. After that, Naruto would make a hand seal that would deactivate his weights, allowing him to move freely. As he got closer to the bridge, he would feel the Kyuubi's chakra. Naruto, what is this chakra? Kyuubi. I'll have to prepare a chakra suppression seal to calm Naruto or Mito, whoever it is, whoever is controlled by the Kyuubi's chakra. After that, he would stop his pace and quickly begin to prepare the seal. This would be very easy for him since in his training with Jiraiya, he would teach him how to perform the specific seal in case the situation happened. After a few seconds, he would have the seal ready and would resume his path again. Naruto. Just hold on a little longer. I'd say seriously. We are in the town of Waves, more specifically on the bridge, where a fierce battle is taking place, where the future of the town will be decided. Naruto, Suki and Anna would still be trapped in the Umbu's mirror technique. Kushina and Makoto would continue fighting against Zabuza. The latter was very elusive, hiding in the mist, and Makoto could not follow him with the Sharingan since all the mist was wrapped in chakra, making following him impossible. Makoto. I can't follow him, the mist is pure chakra. Only with a Byakugan could I follow him. I'd say that seriously. Kushina. Then there is no other option, I would say calmly, so that after that, very thick chains would start to emerge from his back. Makoto, your glitter chains. I'd say with surprise. Kushina. I'll try to catch him with them. After that, Kushina would begin to expand her chains further around the mist. If Zabuza were to pass near them, Kushina would know because she was a great sensor and her chains would help expand her sensory field. Inside the dome of mirrors. Inside this you would see an exhausted Suki from repelling the needles that the Umbu was throwing at her, and Anna. She would also have some stuck in her body. Suki thoughts, I can't go on like this any longer. Some of my muscles are numb from the Umbu's needles. At that, Anna gets up from the ground, already feeling better from her injury. Anna. Suki. Rest. I've recovered from my injury, so you can rest. I'll cover for you, I'd say calmly. Suki would just let herself fall to the ground, exhausted from the effort. Naruto would continue trying to destroy the mirrors, but the Umbu would not let her and would only throw more needles at her. These would embed themselves in Naruto's body, but she did not pay attention to them since thanks to the Kyuubi's chakra she would not feel them. Umbu. They're starting to become a nuisance to me. They don't entertain me at all. They're just a joke and a mockery as kunoichi, I'd say coldly, so after that, I'd start throwing needles again. Naruto wouldn't take the needles seriously and Anna would cover Suki and her doing the rotation. Anna. Damn. The pain in my wrist really makes it difficult to do rotations. It's unbelievable that such a minor injury could have dropped my level so much. I'd say with frustration. Suki. This is much harder than I thought, not even with my Sharingan am I able to keep up, plus my body can't keep up with that reaction speed. Naruto doesn't have much left. In just a few more minutes the Kyuubi will stop sending chakra, and with that Naruto will also be in trouble. I can't think of anything to get out. Damn, we haven't even been able to get near a damn mirror. I would say with anger and frustration. Outside the dome of mirrors, Cheyenne. The girls won't be able to hold out any longer. One of us will have to go with them to help them, she said with concern. Myth. But Tazuna-san will be left very unprotected. We can't leave him alone, he would say with frustration, being in a very big dilemma. On one hand, he wanted to go help his sister or else he would most likely die along with Anna and Suki, and on the other hand there was Tazuna. The reason for all this, if he were to die they would lose and everything they have done would be for nothing. Naruto. Come now. At that moment Mito would feel a hand on her shoulder. When she looked up she would find Naruto giving her a small smile of calm. Instantly Mito would feel more relieved and quickly hug him. Naruto. Sorry I'm late, but I'm here now, I'd say calmly. Cheyenne. Naruto-sama. I would say, noticing his presence. Naruto. Cheyenne. Tell me what the situation is. I would say separating from Mito and approaching Cheyenne calmly. Cheyenne. Well, Kushina and Makoto-sensei are fighting Zabuza, and Naruto, Anna and Suki are trapped with the Umbu in that mirror dome. It's made of ice. Naruto. I see. I would say somewhat surprised to know that the Umbu could use the ice release. I would process all the information calmly. Fine, I'll go help the girls. I'm sure Kushina and Makoto-sensei can handle Zabuza. I would say calmly, and after that go quickly to the direction of the ice dome. Mito, okay, with that we can rest easy. I'd say watching Naruto head towards the girls. After that Naruto would quickly head towards the mirror dome. In the dome of mirrors, inside the dome we would see an Anna with multiple needles buried in her body, since she could not protect herself with her rotation since she could not complete it perfectly due to her injury. Suki was the same, she had needles buried in her body, her right arm had been numbed by so many needles in it, and Naruto was still trying to reach the Umbu, but it was impossible. This only made her angrier to the point of releasing more of the Kyuubi's chakra. But this would only make things worse since being an enormous amount of chakra trapped in a closed place like the dome would make Anna and Suki begin to not be able to breathe due to so much pressure. Naruto would not realize this. Umbu. Thoughts, what an idiot. She's killing her companions and she doesn't even realize it. Well, she's just making my job easier than it already is. It's time to end this. I'll aim for their hearts this time. Maybe I won't kill the idiot blonde with this, but it will leave me an opening to finish her off. After that, the Umbu would prepare their needles ready to end this. Umbu. Say a final farewell to the world. He would say in a cold voice. Anna, thoughts Eno. I don't want to die like this. I would see the needles approaching them. Suki, thoughts damn. I couldn't even touch him. I'm pathetic. I would think helplessly. Anna and Suki would simply close their eyes accepting their fate. After that a few seconds would pass but neither of them would feel the needles in their body. As they felt nothing they would both open their eyes and would see in amazement how a dome of ice had protected them. Naruto. I see I'm just in time. I'd say calmly. Anna. Nah. Naruto. I would say with amazement and joy at seeing my teammate. Naruto would approach Anna, undoing the ice dome so he could take her in his arms. Naruto. Rest easy, I'll take care of this. You did well holding on. I'd say calmly. Anna just blushed at having the boy so close, but this time she would let it go and just faint in his arms, trusting the boy. After that Naruto would have two clones. One would carry Anna and the other would go for Suki. Suki. Naruto. I'd say seeing how the boy's clone carried her. Naruto. Calm down Suki. Rest. I will protect them and finish off the Umbu. Suki didn't know why, but she would trust the boy's words without a doubt in her mind. The Umbu would just watch this with great amazement. Umbu thoughts how could Naruto use ice? He's not from the mist like me. Naruto would approach Naruto. She would only attack him since the Kyuubi's chakra was controlling her. Naruto would easily dodge her since they were only roast blows and were not a good taijutsu. So after that, and without wasting time, he would take out the seal that he had prepared and quickly place it on his forehead. After that, the chakra would quickly be suppressed in the seal. This would cause Naruto to fall unconscious. Naruto would quickly catch her in his arms before she fell to the ground. Naruto. Brother. I'd say exhausted. Naruto. Rest. I would say without further ado. Naruto would only heed her brother's words and close her eyes, falling into a deep sleep. Naruto would only make another clone to take care of Naruto. Umbu. Tell me how you can use the ice element. Only ninjas with that Kekii Genkai can use the ice element. I would say with curiosity. Naruto, well, I don't have that Kekii Genkai. The way I got the ice element was because I managed to master its primary elements, which in this case are wind and water. By combining them you can access ice, only I still don't have it mastered like you do. At first glance I can see that you do master it almost perfectly. Isn't that so? I would say seriously. Umbu, you're right. But even so, it's unheard of that at your age you've already managed to master two elements to perfection and are already practicing with a secondary element. You're one of the few geniuses who have been able to achieve it. I would say coldly. Naruto, genius. That's what you think I am? He would say with a small mocking smile. Umbu. Yes. That's what you are. Naruto, wow, you don't know how much I hate people like you, people who minimize the efforts of others. That you have not been able to master elements to perfection like I did does not give you the right to call me a genius. It is a damn excuse that many people use to excuse themselves from not being able to do things that others can do. You don't know. No. You don't have a fucking idea of all the damn sacrifice I made to get to where I am. I would say with enormous anger. Maybe you're right. I regret my comment. I just wanted to express the amazement you gave me when you used that element. I would say it coldly but at the same time with some respect for the boy. Without a doubt this battle would be the most difficult he will have in a long time. Naruto. Let's get this shit started already. I would say so that after that Naruto would shoot off in the direction of the mirrors. Naruto. Let's get this shit started already. I would say so that after that Naruto would shoot off in the direction of the mirrors. Thoughts how fast? I can't keep up with him. It's okay. Even if he's very fast he won't be able to escape the dome. The fool entered without even knowing that once inside it's almost impossible to get out. He's at my mercy. The would throw his needles again. But Naruto would create an ice shield on one of his arms that protected him from the needles. Thoughts he's clever. If I want to pierce that shield I'll have to infuse more chakra into my needles to be able to penetrate his shield easily. In that I would see how Naruto was near one of the mirrors. Thoughts it's useless. Even if he were to break one of my mirrors only he would get out and even then his companions would be trapped and my mirrors would only regenerate. At that moment he would see how Naruto would create a Rasengan in his hand and would impact it on one of his mirrors. The impact would be very powerful, destroying half of the dome, since Naruto had added more chakra than normal to the Rasengan. It can't be. No, I don't have to worry, the other half of the mirrors are still standing. At that moment I would feel another big impact on the missing mirrors. How? I would say in amazement seeing all his mirrors shattered. Naruto. Before entering the mirrors, I left a clone outside of it so I could finish off the jutsu. You're strong, but you underestimated me too much. I'd say, calmly approaching the I understand. I apologize again. I underestimated you. Now that you've shown me what you're capable of, I'll use everything I have to finish you off, since you've become a threat to our plans. After that, both engaged in a battle where multiple weapons were thrown. The threw his needles at vital points and Naruto countered them by throwing kunai and covering himself with his shield made of ice. Naruto would notice that the knew too much about human anatomy since he knew exactly where to attack to make him fall to the ground quickly, attacking vital points such as the lung and the heart. Naruto thoughts I have to get closer because if the battle continues like this, I will end up losing. It is a fact that I will also be good at hand-to-hand combat, but at least I will be able to defend myself much better. After that Naruto would draw hand seals at an incredible speed and throw a ball of water at the He would quickly create a wall of ice so that he would receive the impact. This would give Naruto the time he needed to shorten the distance between the two and they would start a taijutsu fight in which both were even. Thoughts it's unheard of that this boy is a genin. He must at least be a chunin. His strength and speed are incredible. The taijutsu fight would drag on and the would gradually receive more blows from Naruto, to the point where he would only have to block his blows, since he couldn't keep up with him. It can't be. How could you? He would be silenced by a powerful chakra-infused blow to his face that would cause his mask to be shattered into several pieces and send him flying to a corner of the bridge. The impact would be heard by everyone, distracting Zabuza who was trying not to be detected by Kushina's chains. But the impact would cause him to activate one of them and he would be captured. Zabuza would try to break the chains with the Kubikirabocho, but at the moment of raising one of his arms it would be pierced by one of the chains, leaving the arm useless and would release the Kubikirabocho. Zabuza. Damn. I'd say enduring the pain. Makoto. It's over, Zabuza. Both you and your partner have been defeated. Where Naruto would be walking towards the to seal him in one of his scrolls. When he was a few steps away from him and saw him he would stop dead in his tracks with his eyes wide open in surprise. Naruto. Haku. I would say very surprised and shocked. The aforementioned would only look Naruto in the eyes, and would only limit himself to giving him a small smile. Haku. Naruto. I see you really are strong. He would say with his soft voice. Naruto. How is it that you are the It can't be true. Because, I would say still in shock. Haku. It's a long story. The story of my life. I'll tell it to you because I don't want you to think that everything I told you that time is pure lies. I would say calmly. Naruto. How did you end up like this? Haku. Well, where to start? I was born in the village of Fog under the command of the 3rd Mizukage, Yagura Kartachi. I lived with my parents, we were a happy family, until that day when my whole life became hell. The third Mizukage had ordered to kill all people with Kekii Genkai. Unfortunately, my mother had the Kekii Genkai of ice. My father had gone crazy because of the massacre that was taking place in the village, and when he learned that my mother was one of them, he killed her. And well, at that moment my father had realized that I could also have inherited my mother's Kekii Genkai. I had no choice but to run away from home. I do not know how, but I was able to escape from there. After that, I was living on the streets. I fed on food from the garbage dumps until that day when Zabuza-sama found me and saved me from my miserable fate. Since then, I am Zabuza-sama's tool. He is my precious person and are all to fulfill their dreams. Even if I have to condemn a people for it, I would say calmly. Naruto would just listen sadly to Haku's story, paying full attention to his words. Naruto, if that's how you think, then what makes you different from your father? I would say coldly. Haku, what do you mean by that? I'd say confused by Naruto's words. Naruto, you say you would be capable of condemning an entire village for Zabuza's wishes. It's the same thing the third Mizukage did. You would condemn children to the same hell you were in. Tell me, what would you do different from them? He would say angrily. Haku would just stay silent at Naruto's words. The blonde was absolutely right, but he still couldn't turn his back on Zabuza. He was the one who put him out of his misery. No, he couldn't. Haku. Naruto, please finish this. He would say with a small smile. Naruto, what are you talking about? I'd say confused. Haku. Kill me. Only then will we both find a solution to this. End this problem. I'll die happy knowing that you'll be the one to end my life. He said with a smile. Naruto, no, I can't do it. He would say with a lump in his throat. Haku. Please, Naruto. In the air. At that moment, Naruto would be interrupted by the noise of 1,000 birds. Both Naruto and Haku would turn to see where that noise was coming from, and would see how Makoto had thousands of blue rays appearing from her arm, and even Zabuza kneeling in front of her being subdued by Kushina's chains. Makoto. After this, I'll have to thank Kakashi for teaching me his technique. Prepare yourself, Zabuza, because this will be the last technique you'll see him do. I would say coldly. Zabuza. Just get this over with, he would say with his torn voice. With Naruto. Haku. Sorry, Naruto, but in the end you won't be the one who ends my life. I would say calmly. Naruto. What the hell are you saying? I would say with surprise. Makoto. Chidori. At that moment, Haku would gather strength and with incredible speed would stand in front of Zabuza to serve as a shield. Naruto. Haku. I would say in surprise and see in horror what the boy would do. Makoto thought, shit, I can't stop now. She thought in surprise when she saw that the Umbu had gotten between her and Zabuza. Naruto. Haku. At that moment we would see Haku stand between Makoto and Zabuza to receive Makoto's Chidori for Zabuza. Makoto thought, shit, I can't stop now. She thought in surprise when she saw that the Umbu had gotten between her and Zabuza. Kushina thoughts, damn. In a swift movement, Naruto would take the Kubikirabocho from the ground and stick it between Makoto and Haku, thus Makoto destroying the Kubikirabocho, but this would not prevent Haku from being wounded near the heart, but the wound would not be fatal. Haku would fall to the ground unconscious. Naruto would quickly go to Haku, and with the basic knowledge that Tsunade had given him about medical jutsu, he would stop the bleeding that Haku had. Makoto, Naruto, Zabuza would just start laughing like crazy. Zabuza, Haku was once a good tool, but now he's broken. Like any other. He'd say coldly, Naruto, you're a fucking piece of shit. Zabuza, he would say angrily, heading in Zabuza's direction. He would quickly be stopped by Kushina's chains. Kushina. Naruto, leave it at that. People like him aren't worth anyone's time. I'd say that seriously. Naruto, how do you expect me to calm down? After I said that to Haku, he gave his life for him. He would say furious and trying to free himself from his chains. Zabuza. He did what a tool would have done. Sacrificing himself for me was the least he could do to return everything I gave him. He would say coldly, Naruto, damn you. How dare you say that after he got to the point of sacrificing himself for you, after he put aside his ideals and dreams to prioritize yours, after he considered you his precious person. He gave everything for you and that's the only thing you have to say. You're fucking scum. I would say furiously, Makoto, Naruto, you won't solve anything. He's just a demon, and he lives up to his name. I'd say calmly, At that moment, everyone would see with surprise how tears began to flow from Zabuza's eyes. "Zabuza, you talk too much, kid," he said in a raspy voice. "Your words cut me deeper, harder than any blade." The moment would be interrupted by a series of applause coming from the other side of the bridge. Everyone would turn to the direction where the applause was coming from, and there they would see an older man of about 40 to 45 years old and a height of 1.60. He had a mocking smile. Behind him they would see about 100 thugs with sinister smiles. "Zabuza, cat. Wow, Zabuza, I never thought you were so useless and that you would start crying in front of everyone. You're pathetic. You were defeated by some damn children. Ha, you can forget about our agreement. It's funny since I never thought about paying you. Ha ha ha." At that, the bullies would join Gato and just laugh arrogantly. At that, Gato would see Haku's unconscious body and would approach him and kick him in the face. "Cat. Damn brat. This was for the arm you broke," he would say with a mocking smile. At that, a very strong murderous aura would be felt throughout the bridge that would make some thugs tremble. The girls would also tremble as they were not used to such an atmosphere. Kushina and Makoto would be calm as they were more than used to this. Naruto remained stoic. Good Cat was a bag of bones as he was trembling without being able to stop trembling. This aura came from Zabuza, seeing how Cat pitted Haku. "Zabuza, boy, lend me a kunai," he would say coldly to Naruto. Naruto calmly takes a kunai out of his pockets and throws it at Zabuza, who takes it between his teeth as his arms are injured by Kushina's chains. After that, Zabuza would launch himself in Gato's direction. The latter would get scared and run away from the thugs. "Cat, attack him, kill him. I don't care what you do. Just kill that bastard," I say, terrified. The thugs would try to attack Zabuza, but it was in vain since anyone who approached was stabbed by the kunai he had, and those who were about to stab him in the back were pierced by Naruto's chains as he was covering him, since he also wanted Zabuza to kill Gato for what he had done to Haku and the village. Cat would only watch in terror as his thugs were killed one by them. "Cat, it's a demon. It's a demon." Gato would be interrupted by Zabuza having slit his throat and stabbed him in the stomach. Gato would only writhe on the ground until he died drowning in a pool of his own blood. The remaining thugs would just run away upon seeing the massacre that Zabuza and Naruto had done. Kushina and Makoto would be watching the scene calmly. Tazuna would not hold it and would go to the edge of the bridge and vomit upon seeing all the bodies. Cheyenne, Mito, and Suki would watch the scene in horror, not being used to such scenes. After that, Naruto would throw a small ball of water that would make the bodies fall into the sea and clean the bridge, leaving no trace of the massacre. Zabuza would go where Haku's unconscious body was. "Naruto, and now what are you going to do?" I would say, watching Zabuza. "Zabuza, I don't know," I'd say calmly. Kushina, "Well, it's not like we're just going to let you go like that." Makoto, "Leave it like that, Kushina. There is nothing we have against Zabuza. He was just doing his job, just like us." Kushina, "But they are renegade ninjas from their village. They are not just anything." Zabuza, "Now that I think about it, maybe I do have something to do after this." I'd say seriously. Naruto, Kushina, and Makoto would pay attention to Zabuza's words. Kushina, "What are you talking about?" Zabuza, "Well, you've probably heard about the crisis that's currently raging through the fog." Naruto, "Haku told me that the third Mizukage ordered to kill people with Kekei Genkai." I would say calmly. Zabuza, "That's right, the third Mizukage, Yagura Karatachi, was once a very good Mizukage who would lead the mist to its moment of glory, but from one day to the next he became a dictator who ordered the murder of people with Kekei Genkai, putting the village in a very vulnerable state, and for which they named it the village hidden in the bloody mist." Makoto, "If he was such a good leader, why did he suddenly become a dictator?" I'd say, out of curiosity. Zabuza, "The reason is unknown, but what I do know is that a resistance was created led by a very important woman in the village." Kushina, "Who is it?" Zabuza, Mei Terumi. "She created a resistance, no small feat, to remove Yagura from power and free the mist from its tyranny." Naruto, "You plan to join her, right?" Zabuza, "You sure think fast, brat." I'd say calmly. "That's right, even though it may not seem strange. The time when the mist was considered one of the best places was beautiful, but everything must come to an end." Makoto, "Well then, for that you'll have to recover first and Haku too." Zabuza would just nod calmly. After that, Naruto would carry the unconscious Haku and Makoto would help Zabuza walk. Tazuna, seeing them, quickly hid behind Cheyenne and Mito. After the scare, Makoto told him the situation. At first Tsunade doubted it, but in the end he accepted that Zabuza and Haku could stay at his house. After that scene, Kushina would go to treat Naruto, Suki and Anna. Naruto and Anna would wake up from their fainting and would be informed of everything that happened. After that, Haku would wake up and would also be informed of what happened, and also receiving an apology from Zabuza. Naruto, wow, what a tiring day. I'd say tired. Tsunade, I can't wait to tell everyone that we're free of Gato. He said with tears in his eyes, knowing it was all over. The horror movie he was living in was over, and with a happy ending. After that, everyone would return home to rest and regain their strength. When they got home, they would meet Tsunade and Inari, who would be informed of what had happened and that they were finally free. Tsunade would fall to the ground on her knees, crying her eyes out upon learning that it was all over. Inari would do the same, running into her mother's arms. The others would only see them with a small smile, not wanting to interrupt the scene. After that, Tsunade would go out to tour the town to report what had happened. At first people did not believe him and judged him crazy, until Zabuza followed him and with him he would drag Gato's body. Kushina. Okay, after Tsunade-san finishes the bridge, we'll head home. I would inform the teams. Everyone would nod at Kushina's words. Without a doubt, today had been a long day for everyone. The sun would begin to rise on the horizons of the town of Waves. Beginning a new day, the town was more alive than ever since the day before Tsunade had warned the town about the death of Gato. A man with a fearsome appearance had dragging the body of the named. All the people believed that he had been the one who saved them and began to thank him. Some even got to the point of kneeling before him. But the man and Tsunade quickly denied that lie, and told the town that the true heroes were at Tsunade's house recovering from the battle. The people agreed to celebrate that night. They would have a big party and asked Tsunade to invite the town's heroes. Tsunade had no choice but to accept since they were literally threatening him to bring them to Tsunade's house. We would see the group having breakfast without any problem, some talking among themselves, as was the case of Tsunade with Zabuza, that apart from the subject that the latter in the past wanted to kill him, they got along well, sharing certain tastes. There was also Haku, who would be filled with beauty questions by the girls when they saw his face, which was more feminine than theirs. This at some point depressed them when they saw that even a boy was more beautiful than them. Tsunade would be talking to Kushina and Makoto, complaining about their children and things in the kitchen. And finally Naruto, who listened to the proposals that Inari had in mind to improve the village and take it back to its former glory. In the end, the day would pass normally until 5 in the afternoon arrived, where the group would be on their way to the town celebration. Even the people had made a special place for them to sit and have a good time at the party. Zabuza and Haku just stayed in the crowd since they knew that they did not deserve to be there, letting the others go on their way. The people, when they saw teams 11 and 12, began to thank them. After that, everyone began to celebrate. On one hand, Zabuza would be drinking heavily with Tsunade and other men. On the other hand, the girls were sought after by boys who had fallen in love with them, but they only broke their hearts by rejecting them. Boy 1. Please go out with me. Anna, who was already tired of rejecting boys, would say. Anna. No. I would say coldly. The boy just stood there crying in a corner, being comforted by another boy who had also been rejected. Boy 2. Get into war mode, daddy. I would say, trying to comfort the boy. Elsewhere, Kushina and Makoto would be with other women gossiping. Haku was being chased by some girls who wanted to get beauty tips from him. Haku. I already told you it's natural. I'd say terrified because they were almost catching up with him. Inari would be playing with some children his age and with Naruto, while he was literally harassed and covered in kisses from several girls and even women. Since he was the only man in the group, Naruto did not complain since Jiraiya had taught him that a gift is not despised, and even less so that of a woman. Naruto thoughts how wise my sensei is. He would say while being covered in kisses and hugged. I'm not coming out of this a virgin, was the blonde's last thought. The night would continue its course. The party would last all night. Zabuza and Tsunade would spend the whole night drinking. Haku, after a few hours, would just go hide in the house. Naruto and Cheyenne would comfort him. Suki and Mito would also be in the house doing a count of how many boys they rejected. Kushina, Makoto, and Tsunade would still be talking to the women. Inari had already gone to sleep. Naruto would be on the outskirts of the village, washing his face in a small lake that was nearby, removing the lipstick from his face that some women and girls had left on him after having kissed the blonde. Naruto, wow, they put on a lot of lipstick. I'd say trying to get the lipstick off their face. At that, Naruto would feel someone approaching him and would turn to see who it was. He would be surprised to see Anna arrive next to him. Naruto. Anna, what are you doing here? I'd say confused. Anna. She just came to thank you, she said, somewhat embarrassed and blushing. Naruto, thank me that, Anna, for saving me when I was fighting Haku. If it weren't for you, I would have died. I said, still blushing. Naruto, well, anyone in my place would have. He would say with a small smile. At that moment, he would see Anna slowly approaching him. Naruto thoughts, what? He's really going to kiss me? I would think in amazement. When Anna was a few inches away from him, she would notice a small spot on the blonde's cheek. Anna, what is that stain? I would say, pointing at the stain. Naruto, this, is just a girl's lipstick. Thoughts crap. At that moment, Naruto would be grabbed by the collar of his shirt and would be shaken by Anna. Anna, you damn womanizer. You just took advantage of the situation. I would say furiously. Naruto, it's not like that, Anna. They forced me. I would say, trying to stop Anna. Anna, do you really think I'm going to believe you? I hope you haven't slept with anyone, because if I find out, I swear you'll never see the light of day again. After that, Anna would release Naruto. Naruto, I'm sorry, I would say with anime-style tears. Anna wouldn't answer him. She would still be upset. Naruto, please forgive me. It won't happen again. Anna, you're pathetic, I'd say, looking at him coldly. Naruto would just bow his head, but then he would feel lips pressing against his cheek, and when he raised his head, he would see a blushing Anna. Anna, don't get me wrong, that was just to thank you for saving me. I still think you're a damn womanizer, I'd say, completely blushing. Naruto would just touch his cheek and couldn't help but smile. Anna, by the way, do you remember that we kissed because of Kushina-sensei? I'd say calmly. Naruto, yeah, what does that have to do with it? I'd say out of curiosity. In that, he would see that Anna would look at him with a death face, which would make Naruto look in his pants. Anna, promise me you won't tell anyone when we get back to the village, she'd say with a deathly expression. Naruto, hey, if you don't worry about it, I won't tell anyone, he said, terrified by the look Anna was giving him. Anna, good. Naruto, thoughts, damn. She's at Tsundere, I think, with tears in my eyes, anime style. Oh, by the way, because you don't want her to tell anyone. Anna, believe me, it's better if you don't know. I'd say calmly. Naruto, what? When you tell me that, I want to know even more. Anna, I'll just tell you that if someone from the Hyuga clan finds out about that kiss, our lives will change. After those words, Anna would leave the place, leaving Naruto alone with his thoughts. After that, a week would pass, during which the bridge would be successfully completed without any problems, so the teams would be ready to return to the village, and the entire town would be on the outskirts of town to see them off. Kushina, well, Tsunade-san, this is goodbye, she would say calmly and extend her hand. Tsuna, it seems so, I would say with some sadness, but I would still reciprocate the Uzumaki's gesture. Makoto, I hope the village prospers and can move forward. Tsuna, of course he will. The Wave Village will prosper and regain its former glory, he would say with a small smile. Tsunami would also say goodbye to the teams, only she wouldn't hold back and shed some tears. With Inari, it was the same, not wanting to say goodbye to Naruto. Naruto would bend down to Inari's height and stroke her head with a smile. Naruto, don't be like that. Remember, you have to be strong to protect the people who are important to you. You have a duty to lead the village into its golden years. I'd say calmly. Inari would just nod, still with tears in her eyes, but she would wipe them away and look at Naruto with determination. Inari, I promise you that when you return to the village, you will see what I will achieve. Naruto would just nod with a smile. After that, teams 11 and 12, accompanied by Zabuza and Haku, would begin their return journey, while the village said goodbye to them with gratitude. After the group disappeared in the distance, Tsuna revealed the name of the bridge. Tsunami, Naruto's Great Bridge. I'd say in awe. Inari, Grandpa, why did you choose Naruto's name? I'd say out of curiosity. Tsuna, the bridge is named after the boy who gave me hope, I would say with a small smile. After an hour of driving, the paths separated. Zabuza, well, I think we're along for the ride. I'd say easy. Kushina, I hope the next time we meet isn't on the battlefield. I'd say calmly. Zabuza, same here. Haku, Naruto, I hope to see you again. I'd say with a charming smile. Naruto, Sure, take it for granted, but stop making me doubt my sexuality. I'd say with tears in my eyes, anime style. Haku would only laugh at the blonde's words and then retreat with Zabuza. After another day, the teams would finally arrive at Konoha and see some of the Chunin sleeping at the entrance. Suki, aren't they supposed to be guarding the entrance? I'd say reproachfully. Myth, you said it, it's supposed to. After that, the teams would continue their way and arrive at the Kage Tower. After waiting a few minutes, they would enter the Hokage's office. Minato would be surprised to see the teams back. Minato, Kushina, I would say with surprise. Kushina, we're back from the Hokage-sama mission. It was a complete success. I'd say with a smile. After that, Kushina proceeded to give the mission report recounting everything that had happened. Minato, I see. Well, the good thing is that the village was saved and they also sent the rest of the money for the mission. He said with a smile. Everyone would nod calmly. Minato, well, if there's nothing else to say, you can go rest. I say take it easy. Kushina, Naruto, Mito, Makoto, Suki, Cheyenne and Anna would leave the office, leaving Naruto and Minato alone. Minato, son, something's wrong. I'd say out of curiosity. Naruto, Hokage-sama, I would like to speak with you about a matter that could benefit the village and help us achieve peace with an entire nation. I would say this seriously. Minato would be surprised by Naruto's words, and seeing the seriousness with which he said it, he knew that the subject was serious. Minato, tell me, what's the topic about? I'd say seriously. It was a normal morning in the Leaf Village. The sun would be giving its first rays that would enter through the windows of thousands of houses. The streets were somewhat empty since most people were still asleep or getting ready for the day. But for our protagonist, it was a hectic morning like all the others, since he would be taking a few turns around the Sarutobi residence. After a few minutes of training, he would return home and prepare breakfast. Yesterday, he had returned from his wave mission, completing a damn B-rank mission. With this, the Hokage had agreed to give them C-rank missions, leaving aside the D-rank ones. With this, his team would gain much more experience and confidence, in addition to better developing their skills and abilities. At that moment, I would hear someone coming down the stairs. When I turned in his direction, I would see that it was Shizune, who was more asleep than awake. Naruto would just greet her calmly. Shizune would return the greeting. Naruto, only you have awakened. Shizune. Tsunade-sama is also awake. It's just that she's in the bathroom washing her face. She said she'd be down in a few minutes. Naruto, I see. He would say, passing a plate of food to Shizune and leave one for Tsunade and sit in front of Shizune with his breakfast, and they would start chatting about trivial things. Shizune would ask him things about her wave mission. Since yesterday, they hadn't had time to talk since Naruto had returned very late and tired. After a few minutes, Tsunade would come down and join them. A few minutes later, Hiruzen and Jiraiya would come down and approach the others, so they were all in the dining room and talking about various things. After everyone finished breakfast, Tsunade and Shizune would say goodbye and go to the hospital to continue with their work. Hiruzen would go to visit his children, these being Asuma and his other son. Note: I don't remember the name of Konohamaru's father. I'm not sure. I think it was never said at any time, but well, that's how it is. Leaving Jiraiya and Naruto alone. Jiraiya, so now you and your team will be doing C-rank missions at the very least. Naruto, yes, we completed the wave mission without problems, so the Hokage will stop assigning us D-rank missions. Jiraiya, that's good news. Your team will stand out from the rest. Naruto would nod to Jiraiya's words. Jiraiya, well, leaving that aside, I wanted to tell you that I will be leaving the village for a month. I have important things to do outside these walls. Naruto, I see. I would say somewhat dejected since he had not left Jiraiya's side since he had taken him as a student. Jiraiya would notice this and would just place a hand on his head and stroke his hair. Even though he was 13 years old, the boy inside him was still a child. Jiraiya, don't be like that, kid. The month will pass quickly, and you'll still have Hiruzen-sensei, Tsunade, and Shizune-san. Naruto, yes, I think you're right, sensei. After that, Naruto would say goodbye to Jiraiya and prepare to go with his team, who would be waiting for him at his training camp. Training camp number 12. In this, Anna and Cheyenne would meet, who would be having a practice duel. Seeing Anna far superior to Cheyenne, the latter would have no choice but to dodge and block the blows that Anna sent her. At that point, they would see Naruto arriving and they would stop their fight and approach him. Cheyenne. Good morning, Naruto-sama. I would say with a smile. Anna. Good morning, Naruto. I'd say more calmly than Cheyenne. Naruto. Good morning, girls. What were you doing? I would say out of curiosity. Anna. We were having a practice match, but the outcome was obvious. I was going to win. I'd say with a bit of arrogance. Cheyenne. Hey, don't get so carried away, he said, annoyed by his partner's arrogance. Makoto. Anna is right, Cheyenne. I would say, appearing next to Cheyenne. The boys would be a little startled by not noticing their sensei's arrival. Cheyenne sensei. Makoto. Cheyenne, of the three of us, you're the most inexperienced. I'd say easy. Plus, you still need to brush up on your taijutsu and ninjutsu. Cheyenne would only feel somewhat humiliated by her sensei's words, but deep down she knew he was right. Makoto. But don't blame yourself for that. Since compared to Anna and Naruto, you didn't have someone who trained only you. Anna was trained by her clan teaching her taijutsu, and her techniques with the Byakugan, and Naruto was trained by two great legends like Hiruzen-sama and Jiraiya-sama. I would say calmly. Cheyenne would nod at Makoto's words. The latter would turn to look at Anna. Makoto? Anna, you have impeccable taijutsu and an almost perfect defense, and you have almost mastered most of your clan's techniques, but you still have a long way to go, since you are only good for hand-to-hand combat. You already saw how you did against Haku. He relied on ranged combat and managed to defeat you since you did not have long-range techniques, which made you extremely a hindrance. Anna was only embarrassed by how Makoto had described her. Makoto. Naruto, while you are the best of the three, since you specialize in both hand-to-hand and ranged combat, you have balance, which is very rare to find in a ninja, and whenever you find yourself in trouble you manage to come up with good strategies, but you need to trust your teammates more. You should stop doing things by yourself. Naruto would just nod at Makoto's words since he knew she was right. Makoto. I'm not telling you this just because all this time that we've been together I've been observing you and seeing your weaknesses and strengths. The Chunin exams will begin in a month, and in this month we will train those points that I mentioned. Cheyenne. Chunin exams, what's that? Sensei? I'd say out of curiosity. Makoto. The Chunin exams are tests that you have to pass to prove that you have the necessary level to be promoted in rank. They are 3 different tests, one more difficult than the other, so that's why I want you to work on your weaknesses. Anna. According to what my father told me, the Chunin exams were in a week, so now you're telling me they're in a month. I'd say confused. Makoto. That was right, but the Hokage changed the date of these by delaying them a month because a considerable part of our ninjas will be out of the village during that time, and we cannot risk having the exams held while the village is not at its maximum protection since it can be attacked at any moment. Many ninjas from different villages will participate, so it is a precaution. The boys would nod calmly, understanding the reason. Cheyenne. I wonder why some ninjas aren't in the village. Makoto. The Hokage and the council are the only ones who know why. Even jounin like myself haven't been informed, so it must be a very confidential reason. I'd say calmly. After that, Team 12 would train for a few hours and do some missions to pass the day. The Chunin exams were coming up, and they would train all month to show the others how much they had improved during this time. 7 p.m. In training camp number 12, we would see a Naruto and a Konohamaru talking to each other. Konohamaru would show Naruto his progress during all this time that Naruto had not been in the village. He had already mastered walking on water and was moving with great freedom. Konohamaru. Wow, sensei. I managed to master the exercise without any problems. Now I can show everyone how strong I am. He would say with a big, cheerful smile. Naruto. No. Konohamaru, what? How come not? Naruto. You still have a long way to go, but you've done a good job. Now you're ready for me to teach you a jutsu that will help make your training faster and easier. Konohamaru. There really is such a jutsu. I'd say with amazement. Naruto. That's right, watch and learn. In that, Naruto would make a shadow clone. Konohamaru. What? You're not joking, sensei. Do you really think a simple illusion will help me with my training? I'd say disappointed. Naruto. This is not an illusion. It's a solid clone. At that, Konohamaru would see how the clone approached him and caressed his head. Konohamaru. Incredible. Sensei, please teach me. I would say excited. After that, Naruto would teach him the hand seal to summon the clones. He would also tell him the secrets of these and in what cases he could use them. Konohamaru would make the hand seal, and after that 3 clones of him would appear. But these clones were white and had one or another malformation. Konohamaru. What? Why are my clones like this? Naruto, you need to practice it more. In fact, you did well on your first try. Konohamaru would practice the jutsu for a while until he finally managed to make 2 perfect clones. Konohamaru, great, I finally managed to do it. I'd say with pride. Naruto, well done, you did it, now your training will change and you will become stronger, faster. Konohamaru, bien, Naruto, but for now, go rest. I'll give you this weekend to rest while I plan your new training, since you've completed the first part of this one. I say take it easy. Konohamaru would nod, and after saying goodbye to Naruto, he would go home. After that, Naruto would be walking around the village while he saw some stalls close and others open. Without a doubt, this month would be somewhat exhausting and that he didn't know what awaited him. It had been a week since Team 12 had returned from their mission in the waves. In this time, the team had trained a lot to improve their skills and develop new ones. Also, Naruto had started Konohamaru's new training. With the shadow clones, it was much easier to get results. For now, he could only make 2 clones, but they were more than enough. While his clones improved their chakra control, the real Konohamaru improved his taijutsu or trained his body. Training camp number 12. We would find Team 12 training with Makoto watching them, checking if they were doing their training well. Cheyenne would be training her taijutsu with a clone of Makoto. Anna would be training her elemental chakra. She had discovered that it was related to the earth element, and Naruto would continue training his senses, continuing with his training as Kushina had taught him in the waves. After a few more hours, Makoto would say goodbye to them, letting the boys rest and ending training for that day. Cheyenne, wow, how tired. I'd say all bruised from training, even having a punch mark on one of his cheeks. Naruto, looks like you were the one who had the worst time, he would say with a small smile and putting one of his hands on Cheyenne's cheek and would start sending ice chakra to her cheek to reduce the swelling. Cheyenne wouldn't complain and would just enjoy the contact. Anna, well, at least this way you'll be able to defend yourself much better. Cheyenne, that's true. Naruto, and how has your elemental chakra training gone? Anna, it's a bit difficult. I'm not used to training for this kind of thing. Naruto, true, the Hyuga clan does not practice that kind of thing. They only focus on improving their defense and attack techniques, but it would be better if they practiced long-range attacks. That would make them much stronger. Anna, yes, well, the problem is the Hyuga elders. They are the ones who decide those kinds of things along with the clan leader. They think that maintaining the traditions of their ancestors is the best, and they refuse to change their ways. Cheyenne, you really have it tough with those old people. Huh? Anna would just nod calmly. Anna, that's why I want to be the leader of the clan. I want to change many things in my clan that are wrong. Cheyenne, but who is the heir of the clan? You or your sister Hinata? Anna, it's me. I was born just 2 minutes before Hinata. Naruto, well, then all that's left is for you to not give up on your goal. I'm sure you'll succeed in becoming the leader of your clan. You're very strong and capable, he would say with a sincere smile. Naruto's words would make Anna blush and just look away. This would also make Cheyenne a little jealous. Anna, yeah, I know, idiot, I'd say blushing. Cheyenne, Naruto-sama, you also believe in my truth, I would say with puppy dog eyes. Naruto, ha, I think you're strong too, I'd say with an anime-style sweat drop. This would make Cheyenne happy and Anna would only be a little upset, but it wouldn't be noticed by Naruto. Anna, well, leaving that aside, Cheyenne wants to join a sleepover with me and Naruto. Cheyenne, a sleepover? Anna, yeah, a sleepover. Naruto always wants to do that kind of thing. Cheyenne, well, sounds good, I accept. Naruto would just watch this calmly. His sister did behave like a child, even if she was already a teenager. Naruto, well then, I'll leave you too. Have a good time at your sleepover. Say goodbye. The girls would just say goodbye to him and begin their journey to the Hyuga mansion. After that, Naruto would be heading to Ichiraku for some ramen. On the way, he would run into Shikamaru. Shikamaru, it's been a while since we last saw each other, he would say with his usual laziness. Naruto, you're never going to change, I see, I'd say with a small smile. Shikamaru, what a shame. Naruto would only let out a small laugh at his friend's attitude. Naruto, I'm on my way to Ichiraku. Do you want to join me? Shikamaru, it's okay. I don't have anything to do anyway, and I don't want to hear my mom complaining so early. Naruto would only have an anime-style drop of sweat appear. The Nara were definitely troublesome people. After that, the two head to Ichiraku's, and while they ate, they would catch up, telling how things had gone for them this time and Shikamaru complaining about Ino. Naruto, looks like your team is giving you trouble too, huh? I'd say with a smile. Shikamaru, you don't even need to say it. Ino just complains about everything and always compares us to her, Sasuke-kun. It's annoying. Chuji only spends his time eating, but that doesn't bother me, and our sensei only spends his time chasing after Kurenai-sensei. I would count the lazy one with annoyance. Naruto would just listen to his friends' complaints with amusement. Naruto, wow, your team is definitely worse than mine. Shikamaru would just sigh in exhaustion, and a new bowl of ramen would be placed in front of him. Shikamaru would raise his head in curiosity and notice how a man would look at him with a smile. Ichiraku, cheer up, kid. I'm sure good days are coming for you. For now, just enjoy the ramen. It's on the house. I'd say happily. Shikamaru just thanked the man and ate the ramen calmly, enjoying its flavor. Naruto just watched this with joy, seeing his friend relax. Naruto, another bowl of ramen for me too, he would say with a smile. Ichiraku, understood, Naruto. He would reply with the same smile. After that, a few minutes would pass. The sun would be setting. Giving way to the night, Naruto and Shikamaru would be satisfied and would only be resting after eating. Shikamaru, I can see why you like this place. Not only is the food good, but the atmosphere is calming. I'd say calming. Naruto would just nod calmly. Naruto, that's right, it's one of the few places that relaxes me, and it makes me feel at home. Shikamaru, heh, you're definitely a case. At that moment, both boys would feel an aura of pure death approaching them. Shikamaru, Naruto, you feel that? Naruto, yes. Without even realizing it, the person with the murderous aura was already in front of them. Uzumaki. Naruto. Both boys felt a chill run down their spines. Naruto thought he is Hayashi Hyuga. At that moment, Anna, Cheyenne, and Naruto would arrive behind Hayashi. Anna, father, please don't do anything to Naruto. It wasn't his fault. I'd say I was terrified of what his father might do to Naruto. Hayashi, silence Anna. This bastard will be responsible for his atrocious act. Naruto, excuse me, but could you tell me what I did? I would say terrified of the man. Hayashi would look at him with a death glare. Hayashi, Uzumaki, Naruto, you kissed the heiress of the Hyuga clan on the lips. Everyone would fall silent at that moment. Shikamaru thought, damn, gossip is good. Anna, I already told you, father. It was an accident. Kushina-sensei threw him into the air and he fell on top of me and our lips connected. Hayashi, I don't care how it happened. He kissed you and that's proof enough. Naruto, it was just an accident. Really? I'd say nervous. Hayashi, there's no excuse for this. Uzumaki, Naruto, you'll have to marry the heiress of the Hyuga clan, Anna Hyuga. I'd say seriously. Everyone would be frozen by the words spoken by the man. Naruto, what? Without even being able to do anything else, Hayashi would grab him by the collar of his shirt and drag him to the Hyuga compound. Shikamaru would be the first to come out of the impression and turn to look at Anna. Shikamaru, what happened? Anna would also be shocked. Anna, well, on our mission in the waves, Naruto accidentally kissed me on the lips. It was supposed that only Team 11 and 12 knew, but someone slipped to mention it when we were having dinner with my parents. I would say, angrily looking at Naruto. Everyone would turn their attention to Naruto. Naruto, well, at least they're not going to torture him. I'd say nervous. Cheyenne, yes, but now because of you, Naruto-sama will have to marry Anna. Naruto, not all is lost. Anna's mother, Hana-san, has already spoken to my parents. I'm sure they'll be able to help my brother. She would say with a triumphant smile. Anna, I don't think so. My clan's rules are very strict, and those damn elders have already stuck their noses into this matter. It will be almost impossible for Naruto to get out of this. And me too, Shikamaru. What a pain. Come on, we have to go with Naruto. I'm sure if there's no one to help him, he'll do one of his stupid things and only make things worse. I'd say starting to follow Hayashi. The others would follow the Nara's example and head to the Hyuga compound. It was 9 in the evening in the Leaf Village. People would be at home or walking down the streets quietly enjoying their dinner or just having a good time. In one of those streets, we would see a Hayashi walking with a face of few friends dragging our protagonist by the collar of his shirt. Naruto, thoughts, how did all this happen? Marrying Anna. I'm too young to ruin my life. After a few minutes, Hayashi would stop and release Naruto. The latter would quickly get up and notice that they were right at the entrance to the Hyuga compound. Hayashi, Uzumaki, Naruto, Follow me. I would say seriously. Naruto would just swallow and nod at the man. The guards would let them pass and he would just follow the man with many thoughts going through his head. After a few seconds that for Naruto were hours, both would enter a room where there were several Hyuga elders. These were the elders Anna was referring to. He would see how Hayashi took a seat in the leader's chair, and right next to him he would notice a woman with long purple hair. The age of his mother would sit next to Hayashi. This was his wife. She looked a lot like Anna. The woman, when she saw him, would only give him a small smile. That would make Naruto feel calmer. Elder 1. Uzumaki Naruto, I think it goes without saying why you're here, right? Naruto would turn his attention to the old man who had mentioned him. Naruto, yes. Hayashi-san was kind enough to mention it when he came to look for me. He would say it calmly. He would choose to keep his composure firm. It would be of no use to argue with them. Elder 2, well, then you should have also mentioned that you and the clan heiress violated a very important rule in Hyuga law. Naruto, what rule? Exactly. Elder 3, rule number 14 of the clan law, which in a nutshell says that no man can kiss the heiresses of the Hyuga clan except her fiancé. If this rule were to be broken, as is your case, then the kissed heiress will have to marry the man who kissed her, which in this case is you. Naruto, thoughts, what a stupid rule. So if a damn murderer had kissed her, he would have also married Anna. No, of course not. These bastards just want to take advantage of having one of the Hokage's children in their hands to gain more political power. Elder 4. So tell us, Uzumaki Naruto. What do you think? Do you agree to marry the heiress of the Hyuga clan? Naruto. Before answering your question, honorable old man, tell me one thing first. Would my answer change something in this dilemma? Perhaps if I say no, the marriage will not take place. I would say this seriously. Old man 4. What an annoying little boy. No, your answer wouldn't change anything. Naruto. Then there's no point in answering anything. Elder 1. So it's decided Naruto Uzumaki will marry the heiress of the Hayu clan. The elder would be interrupted by the knock of the room's door. As it opened abruptly, everyone would turn their attention to the person who had entered, but quickly the elders, and especially Hayashi, regretted seeing the person. There in front of them would be a Kushina with an evil aura that would make the aura of Madara, Uchiha, and Hashirama Senju look ridiculous in their prime. Kushina's hair would be divided into 9 strands of hair, and her eyes only expressed death in her wake. Kushina, voice from beyond the grave, where is Hayashi? The aforementioned would only hide behind Hana, trembling like a dog. If his pride wasn't big enough, he would have easily shat his pants. Behind Kushina would arrive a nervous Minato, due to the state his wife was in. When they received Hana's message about what was happening with Naruto, Kushina literally arrived faster than Minato to the Hyuga compound, even using the Hiraition. After a while of the waters calming down, Kushina and Minato would join the meeting, Minato sitting next to Kushina, and the latter would be protectively hugging Naruto. The latter would not complain since it was not the time, and because inside he would feel a feeling of protection. Minato. Well, then what's up with this Naruto having to marry Anna? I'd say with seriousness in my words, after Hayashi and the elders told him what happened on the wave mission, he understood the reason but did not agree with the laws of the Hyuga. Kushina. But they already told you that it was an accident, and that I was the one at fault. I'd say angry since the elders weren't interested in how things turned out. Elder 1. Accident or not, Hyuga laws may still require the marriage of Naruto Uzumaki and Anna Hyuga. Kushina would just clench her fists in anger and helplessness. Hana. I think the same as Kushina. Besides, they're too young to get married. I would say in a calm, confident voice. Old man too. That is no impediment. In the past, young people could get married without any problem. Hana. You said it yourself, honorable elder. In the past. Now things are different. Elder 3. Since young people become shinobi, they are considered adults, so their words don't validate anything. Hana-san, Minato, Kushina-chan, Naruto-kun. Can you let me talk to the elders and Hayashi alone? I'd say seriously. Kushina. What are you saying, Minato? I would say with some surprise. Minato. Don't worry. I'll solve this problem, or at least I'll try. Naruto, Hokage-sama, don't worry about me. This can't be fixed. Minato would just give a small smile and ruffle Naruto's hair. Minato. Calm down, son. I'll try to reach an agreement with them. Naruto just remained silent, and deep down he would be grateful to his father. After that, both Kushina and Naruto would leave the room and see how Anna, Naruto, Cheyenne, and Mito would be outside of it waiting for them, curious about what had been decided in the end. In that behind them would come out Hana, who had also left the room. Anna. Mom, what happened? They managed to break up the marriage. I'd say with some hope. Hana. Well, no decision has been made yet, but seeing how things are, it's likely that the marriage will take place. Anna and the others would only process the information given by Hana. Naruto. So this is what you meant when you warned me not to say anything about what happened. I would say, looking at Anna calmly. Anna and Shikamaru. How troublesome this is, I would say with some pity for his friend. Kushina. Don't worry. I'm sure Minato-kun will come to an agreement with those old fogies and that idiot Hayashi. No offense, Hana. Hana would just sigh wearily. Hana. Don't apologize, honestly he is an idiot at times. Naruto. I'm so sorry. If I hadn't mentioned anything about the kiss, this wouldn't be happening. I would say with regret. Naruto. Don't worry about that anymore. Now we just have to think about how to solve it. Naruto would just nod without further ado. Then Hinata would arrive and look at everyone strangely. Hinata, what are you doing here? After an explanation, Hinata. So Anna will have to marry this idiot. I would say, pointing at Naruto. Naruto wouldn't say anything since he was used to her attitude, and Anna would be a little annoyed by the way Hinata referred to Naruto. Hana would just give Hinata a little tap on the head. Hinata. Also, Hana. Behave yourself. I would say with a cold look. Hinata quickly nodded. She didn't want to be scolded by her mother, much less in front of everyone. After a few more minutes, everyone would see Minato leave the room. Kushina. Minato-kun, what did you decide in the end? You managed to cancel the marriage. Minato would only see Naruto. Minato. I'm sorry. I couldn't do much. The only thing I could do was that for the moment they are engaged. But when Naruto becomes a jounin, they will get married. Naruto would just sigh, already expecting that. Naruto. It's okay, it was inevitable. Anna. That's true. The elders wouldn't pass up this opportunity. At that moment Hayashi would leave the room and quickly regret it as he would see Kushina and Hana with an aura of death directed at him. He would quickly hide behind Minato. Hayashi. I'm sorry. I couldn't do anything either. Hana. Hey, what do you mean by that? I say calm down now. Hayashi. Although I was the one who started the commotion of all this, it was because of my father's jealousy. But an old man also managed to hear what Naruto said. So I had no choice but to bring Naruto. I tried to cancel the marriage, but not even I could do anything. Kushina. How is that possible if you're the clan leader? I'd say angry. Hayashi. There are some things I can't handle. Naruto. Like the future of his daughters. Hayashi would just nod with a bit of guilt. Hana. Well, you still have to control those jealousies. Hayashi. If it's okay, I'll try not to explode like this time. I say like a scolded dog. Hinata. Well, sister, it seems you didn't escape marrying that idiot Naruto. I would say mockingly. Anna would just look at her angrily and see how Hinata would walk away with a smile down the stairs. Naruto would also be walking down the stairs with a tired face, and then Naruto would pat him on the back to encourage him. Naruto. Cheer up, brother. You still have a life ahead of you. She would say to cheer Naruto up, but she wouldn't be able to control the force with which she slapped Naruto, and he would fall down the stairs. Everyone else would see how Naruto would fall down the stairs and in the process take Hinata with him, so that in the end they would see how these two would have their lips joined, and to further complicate the situation the elders would be leaving the room seeing the scene produced. Hayashi? Uzumaki Naruto. We are in the Kage Tower of Konoha, where Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage of the village of Konoha, he would be doing what every Kage hates, and this was paperwork, but he would be more in his thoughts than in paperwork. Minato, thoughts these last few weeks have been tough. First the fog situation, then the council, and finally my son's marriage. Damn, I'm too old for this. It seems I've arrived at a bad time, no? A voice quite familiar to Minato would say. Minato, Hiruzen-sama, what are you doing here? I'd say I'm a little surprised by Hiruzen's appearance. Hiruzen. Well, I was just walking around the village and I passed by the tower and I wanted to see how things are going around here, and what I found, the Hokage being deep in his thoughts or rather problems, ha ha ha. Minato would just sigh tiredly. Minato. These few weeks have been a pain if I'm honest. Hiruzen, you may know why. Minato, well it's classified, but since you're the one I don't think there's a problem. You see, it all started the day that Team 11 and 12 returned from their mission in the waves. After both teams gave me the mission report and they left, Naruto asked to speak with me alone. Flashback, Naruto. Hokage-sama, I would like to speak with you about a matter that could benefit the village and help us achieve peace with an entire nation. I would say this seriously. Minato would be surprised by Naruto's words, and seeing the seriousness with which he said it, he knew that the subject was serious. Minato, tell me, what's the topic about? I'd say seriously. Naruto, I think you're already aware of the current fog situation. Minato would nod to Naruto's words. Naruto, well, in the mission in the waves, Zabuza Momochi, member of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist, gave me information that a very powerful ninja who is currently leading a rebellion against the Mizukage Jigura Karatachi does not have enough strength and influence to overthrow the Mizukage and free his village from his bloody dictatorship. Minato would be very surprised by the information said. Minato, where are you going with all this? Naruto, Konoha can send shinobi to support the rebellion and thus overthrow Jigura. So after that, both Konoha and Kirigakure can form a peace treaty and both can benefit from resource exports. Minato would be processing all the information given by Naruto. His idea was very good, but it also required time and shinobi. Minato, your idea is good, but we still need to analyze the cons of this, but I'll still try to talk this over with the council. Naruto would just nod calmly and then leave the office. Fin flashback, Minato. And that's basically what happened and started my stress. I'd say with a small smile. Hiruzen, the council that decided. Minato, everything would have been fine if it weren't for one person. Flashback, we would see Minato heading to the room where the council was already waiting for him. He had called them to propose the idea that Naruto had given him. Upon entering, he could see the respective clan leaders and the group of civilian members, not to mention the elders except for Hiruzen, who was not there. Hamura, Hokage-sama, may I ask the reason why I called the council? One of the elders would say. Minato, I've summoned them because they've just given me some very valuable information that could greatly benefit the village and help us make peace with one of the nations. I'd say that seriously. Everyone would be amazed by Minato's words. Kaharu, Hokage-sama, what do you mean by that? Another of the elders would say. Minato would tell them everything Naruto had told him and proposed. Shikaku, Nara clan leader, it's something very important. Our decision could change the course of Kirigakure. I would say analyzing the information and devising some strategies with their pros and cons. Fugaku, Uchiha clan leader, even so, it will take a few years for Kirigakure to reward us for the help we will give them, he would say with his usual cold look. Hayashi, leader of the Hyuga clan, it's a long-term investment, but in the end we will all benefit and have one more ally. I would say calmly. After a few hours of discussion, the council had agreed to help the Mist, sending ninjas and resources. Minato, well then, the Chunin exams will have to be postponed by at least a month. I'd say calmly. This should be kept between us. Only the ninjas sent into the Mist can know about this. Everyone else nodded without any objection, but in that someone would stand out among all the others. Someone that Minato personally didn't like. Danzo, Hokage-sama, tell us, who was your informant? From what you implied, was he one of those involved in the wave mission, or am I mistaken? I would say calmly. Everyone else would be waiting to see what Minato would say. It was well known that these two always had a rivalry regarding shinobi matters. Minato, I don't think that's relevant for now. Danzo, I'd say seriously. Danzo, on the contrary, Hokage-sama, it is very important to know who the informant was, so he can be rewarded for his valuable information. He would say, remaining calm, but Minato knew of his true intentions. Minato, thoughts you're just looking for an excuse to bring Naruto into the subject. I know very well that he knows Naruto was my informant. He just wants to take the opportunity to talk about him. Danzo, maybe it was Mikoto-san. No, I highly doubt it. She was more aware of her team's training, or maybe it was Kushina-san. I also see it as doubtful. She is recovering from her injuries and helping in the training of her team. Everything in the mission report says so. Or maybe Uzumaki Naruto. I would say with a smile at the end. Kushina, leader of the Uzumaki clan, what makes you think that my son is Minato's informant? I would say, annoyed by the man's words. Kushina didn't like the man any more than Minato, and that was already a lot. Danzo, it's just my opinion. If the Jounin in charge were busy with their respective things, it's easy to deduce that the informant was Naruto Uzumaki. Even if he was training and helping with the construction of the bridge, it wasn't that much of an inconvenience for him, and the report shows that the boy was returning late to the bridge builder's house for several days. Or am I wrong? Given the tremendous level that he showed in his Genin exam, it's not that difficult to deduce that he could have been the informant. That boy is easily a Chunin or even Jounin level, Minato. And if that were the case, tell me, what do you want from him? I would say seriously, Danzo. This topic should have been talked about long ago, but it doesn't matter now. The case of Naruto Uzumaki is very well known to all. And it also lets us know that the boy doesn't hold a grudge against the village. He doesn't even respect his father, what makes us believe that he is loyal to the village. Minato, Naruto is loyal to the village. Him not respecting me as his father is very different. I have it very well deserved. But while we are on work hours, he is very respectful. He knows very well when it is time for discussions and when not. In addition to being trained by my teacher Jiraiya and Hiruzen-sama, they too have the will of fire more than any other shinobi in the village. I am very sure that those values were taught to Naruto. I would say seriously, Danzo. Seriously, Jiraiya of the Sannin is nothing more than a perverted old man who only writes books NOP. And Hiruzen just spends his time smoking wherever he can. Minato. I will not allow you to disrespect my master and Hiruzen-sama, he would say coldly. Danzo. It's the truth. Naruto Uzumaki. He should be thoroughly investigated, to know his true intentions. Minato would then explode with anger, quickly getting up from his seat. Minato. Enough. From this moment on, no one here can even touch a hair of my sons. If I find out that anyone here tries to manipulate or harm Naruto, he will be locked up for several years, Danzo would say angrily, staring. Everyone present would remain silent because of Minato's words. No one wanted to say anything about the subject. End of flashback. Minato. I'm sure Danzo is planning something against Naruto, but I can't do anything without first having proof of it. Hiruzen, what a headache, huh? Danzo has always tried that kind of tricks. He also did it when I was the Hokage. Minato would just sigh tiredly. Minato. And to make matters worse, Naruto is now engaged to Ana and Hinata Hyuga. Minato's words would make Hiruzen almost fall out of his seat. Hiruzen. What? What? He would scream in complete surprise. Minato. Wow. I thought he already knew. Naruto hadn't told him anything. Hiruzen. How is it that he's already compromised? Minato. Well, just a week ago Hayashi found out that Ana and Naruto on their mission in the waves accidentally kissed, and that violated one of the Hyuga laws, so Minato would tell him everything that happened at the meeting with the Hyuga elders. Hiruzen. He really got into trouble, I'd say, processing all the information. Minato would just nod to Hiruzen's words. Hiruzen. And since Naruto belongs to the Uzumaki and Namikaze clans that are almost extinct, he can easily be with several women to reestablish the clans. Minato. That's right, but I doubt Naruto will be happy about that. Hiruzen, well, even if you don't believe it, he picked up several of Jiraiya's customs. Minato would just sigh wearily. That sounded like more trouble.